Hello, greetings. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here, Guy. I really want you just to introduce yourself first for everyone, and then we'll get started with some Q&A.
Sure. My name is Guy Rocourt. I'm CEO and co-founder of Papa and Barkley, or Papa and Barkley Group, which includes Papa and Barkley's core products, P&B Kitchen, and Papa Select.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again. I just really truly appreciate you for being here, and let's go ahead and get started with some questions. So I just want to kind of know, as a teenager, young adult, how did you kind of get started being an advocate or a lover of cannabis?
Sure. I mean, like most folks, I was introduced to cannabis in high school. I'm originally from New York City. I went to aviation high school in Queens, right off the 7 train. So definitely was out and about and having access. My first time that I was introduced to cannabis, like many people, I didn't really feel the effects, which is, I think, a problematic of how we've demonized cannabis, because kids try it and they're like, oh, what's the big deal? And then they may make that mistake with other things that are a big deal. But it wasn't until a concert that I was like, oh, this is cannabis. But I have actually was more conservative when I was younger. I ended up joining the military. And then it wasn't until I, left the military, got a scholarship, and was in college that I was reintroduced to cannabis. And I definitely, fell in with the right crowd of folks, a very kind, green people that indoctrinated me to cannabis and psychedelics in the right way. And, I'm 50 now, so this is back in the, late 80s, early 90s. I ended up leaving my ROTC scholarship because of the fall of the Soviet Union. And of course, what we see happening now, back then I thought there was no military career. And, that was a mistake. But by the time I got out and I started working in entertainment, I ended up graduating with a film degree. I was very much, using cannabis, mostly for stress. I do believe cannabis is about wellness. So while it might have been quote unquote illicit or traditional market use, I think most people end up using cannabis because of stress, and definitely filmmaking is a high stress job. And then eventually I met Montel Williams, a talk show host, and he was doing a movie. I actually passed on the movie the first time because it was a movie that he was producing for his wife at the time, which as an assistant director is just like a two-headed dragon. Like a film should be a dictatorship, hence director. When you have too many voices or cooks in the kitchen, it can get quite weird with communication, which was my job as an assistant director. But needless to say, Montel and I did end up taking the job. Montel and I became fast friends. He was in the Navy. I was in the Navy. He was on subs. I was on subs, that kind of thing. And I didn't know that about him. I wasn't a big watcher of the show until I actually started working with him. But then we spent 10 years advocating and, really trying to get cannabis out there, especially for folks with MS and other autoimmune diseases like Crohn's and, of course, cancer is an autoimmune disease. And so at one point, then I started cultivating, small, but 2 lights becomes 4 lights becomes like, and at one point I was like, maybe I can't be advocate. I have to make a choice. Am I going to cultivate and feed my family and provide safe access? Or am I going to put my face out there as an advocate? I chose to really just focus on growing in cannabis science and kind of just becoming a little bit of an outlaw for a minute. And then, of course, as soon as I had an opportunity to like straighten up and get a license in Colorado, I did. So that's my little entree into cannabis and the compliant cannabis thing. But at this point, I find myself 25 years in the game, having patiently waited for what's happening right now. And I'm committed to patiently waiting till we get it right.
Yes. I really like, and we can go on to the next question, but I really like how you spoke about how it's demonized, right? Because I know for myself growing up, I always was scared to death of it, right? Because it just was so, the way it was presented was like, it was this gateway drug and it was going to have you doing all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do that. So I definitely can, that does resonate with me in regards to how that scary, part of it. And really, I know so many people. I was just telling, Kyle, that I went to Hash Bash in Ann Arbor probably about a month ago now, beginning of the month, and all the stories of people that have been healed and helped through cannabis was just beautiful. So yes, I have been able to kind of get that part of it too. So I appreciate that. So cool. So tell me, so how did you get into the journey with Papa and Barkley? How did that begin?
Yeah, so I stay blessed and try to stay in a space of gratitude for that. I had started this company in Colorado, and like most folks, we had been denied all the tools and resources of science, right? Like even if you had a medical establishment. You couldn't just like go and buy some of this scientific equipment. It was a little bit off, a little awkward. And so even in Colorado, as soon as we could, I wanted to buy all the toys, Rotovap, short path distillation machine. And I understand why people started this race to the bottom where all they want to do is put distillate and stuff. But luckily, a few years later, I met my partner here at Pop and Barkley, Adam Grossman, and he had just taken some flowers and soaked them in coconut oil, rubbed it on his dad's back, and sure enough, his dad got out off a hospice and ended up living long enough to see us found this company. And I had this aha moment with him where it was like, wait, this has always been about plant medicine. This has always been what's grown in grandma's garage and formulated in grandma's kitchen. Even my original vape pen was something I was able to create with limited technology. And I was like, wait, that's what we've been advocating for, plant medicine, not single active pharmaceutical ingredients. It's not about THC or CBD. This is about the whole cannabis plant. And as a student of Jack Herrera, it's even more about the plant, because selling just cannabis is, for human consumption is just the tip of the iceberg. We need hemp, the entire plant, which was outlawed up until 2018, to have a resurgence, to offset cotton production, hemp seed oil, to replace corn ethanol, 10 times the volume in terms of potency, but yet we still spend and subsidize all these corn folks, as opposed to encouraging them to start to grow hemp in earnest, if anything, for fiber, for seed, for food stuff, for their animals and everything. Like, and I get it, like we're skewed now as a people to subsidize corn and soy, and hemp hasn't gotten its day. That's the big, true value of the plant. Selling the wellness part, that's part of it as well. Jack told us food, shelter, medicine.
Yeah.
That's the holy grail of the cannabis plant that has yet to be unlocked. At Pop and Barkley, our mission is unlocking the power of the plant to improve people's lives. That's not just the wellness component, that's all the different components. So yeah, it's been an exciting journey, but my first foray was, we got to do everything science. Like I want all of it. And then I was like, no, everything else. Like when I grew up, we ate white sugar, we ate Wonder Bread. And now you would never do that. You always go for the raw sugar. You know better. My wife would never allow us to have just plain white bread. Like you still have like some grains in it and stuff. So the whole world is moving to this less refined, more natural world. So why wouldn't cannabis just pick up right where it left off? But a lot of the players that are coming in who don't appreciate cannabis look at it as, oh no, as long as I put THC in it, it's a cannabis product. It is not just a cannabis product because it has THC in it. Cannabis means plant-based medicine. That's how we got here. And so that's super important that we always keep that out there in the front as this thing deploys.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. So tell us a little bit more. You are now the CEO of the company. So how did that come about? How long has that happened? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I started off as a co-founder and chief product officer. That is my love, making products.
Yeah.
And as we progressed, my partner, Adam, moved up to the board, which is a whole thing. You need to have, solid people monitoring your money. I learned a hard lesson the first time, no offense to my partners in Colorado, but they were just about making money, and they would always have gone the distillate route. Like they don't have any of the cultural bones and the drive necessary to realize, okay, well, maybe we're not getting that margin now because the consumer's not educated, but we need to wait. That's what we're doing at Pop and Barkley, and so for me, that was always the thing. As a formulator, what I had told our initial investors at Pop and Barkley is, I create products based on the best cannabis science. And so the more educated a consumer is, the more they'll find our products. And that's still true today. And of course, as I engage with more marketing folks, CPG folks, they'd be like, well, you need to meet the customer where they are. And I didn't know what to say to that. But finally, after a few months, I realized, oh, wait, the answer to that is like, yes, I do need to meet them where they are, but the only people qualified to meet them where they are is people who know where we're going. Because most of these CPG people thought, oh no, this is where it is. This is the category. They say words like category and try to avoid the fact that yes, cannabis has been demonized for 100 years. Systemic bias, just like people of color feel, this plant feels. It's everywhere. It's in our words. Like somebody when they say the word marijuana, you're like, you haven't learned to drop that word yet? Like, what's up? You know what I mean? Like people that are like, oh, I'm in the CBD business. You're like, you mean CBD, like the cannabinoid I've been providing for the last 23 years that just happens to be kind of legal now, and you're out there making money on it, on our backs, that CBD. So yeah, I get real, it's a very sensitive point, but I started as chief product officer, really just trying to create quality products. Eventually, I took the mantle of president when my partner stepped up to the board, just to make sure that the money folks understood that we're not going to compromise. We're going to stick to our integrity and create awesome plant-based medicine until such time the consumer understands what's happening. And 5 years later, solventless is finally starting to sink in to the consumer's heads. They're getting it. They understand why they want to pay $80 for a gram of solventless concentrate over $25 for something that was made with chemicals. Just like you might buy that Grey Goose, but sometimes you have the plastic bottle of vodka for homies. They both have relevance, but we just need to set the levels to this, right?
Right.
So when I was president, with my agreement, I have to admit, we thought, hey, it's better to get somebody from traditional CPG that has scaled something. But again, we tripped and fell and learned hard lessons. It takes a lot of passion to maintain our integrity. We have to will this. We're still in this fight. It's still federally prohibited. And so when you have somebody, the person we hired had happened to scale a company from like 100 million to 300 million, and everybody's like, oh, they're going to take us there. Well, one, I don't think they understood the fight that we're still in. Two, going from 100 million to 300 million in a legitimate industry, well, that's a body in motion. We arguably haven't even started our motion, given that it's federally prohibited, given that we can barely expand out of our state without jumping through all kinds of hoops. And so I don't think they were really cut out for the fight. And so having explored that, it fell to me. It's not that I didn't want to be CEO. I just want to make products. And candidly, it's always fun having somebody as a shield out in front of you dealing and answering all the questions and so on, you know. But we had built this organization. We're about 107 employees strong. You know, shout out to my HR folks. Shout out to my, you know, finance folks who hold me down, like helping me manage the P&L and helping me manage the human thing. Because, you know, if anybody's out there listening, thinking they want to start a business, people are the hard part. At one point, it doesn't matter how good you are at executing, how much machinery you have, how much market share you have. At the end of the day, you have humans that you need to deal with, and they need dealing with, you know, and somebody's got a thing going on every day. And if you're not prepared to deal with that human resource issue to get your products made and get your products to market, that becomes the hard part. And so now as CEO, luckily I'm supported by a great team. And candidly, it should have fell to me a while ago, because I've always had this vision. I have the passion, I have the drive. And so now
that is clear. That is clear. The passion there. Yes. No, awesome. Thank you for that. So I just want to just let everybody know too that I am kind of filling in for my friend Veronica Castillo. You know, she visits your dispensary and the spa in Humboldt. And she just wanted to kind of know, you know, are you guys going to be doing more of that, where you'll have like the spa and usage type, you know, just to freely kind of roam? And tell me about that. Are you guys planning on doing more of that in California?
Yeah, 100%. So we stay ahead of the curve, and Pop and Barkley's dispensary is actually operated by an outfit called Humboldt-Based Social, or Social Nature. I'm on the board of that company, and their mission is to while our mission is unlocking the power of the plant to improve people's lives, their mission is to normalize cannabis through hospitality. And while they're not trying to establish bed and breakfasts per se, you go to any hotel, you bring your kids, there's a bar. There just is. Maybe in the lobby, maybe there are bars everywhere. And so the question is, why couldn't you go to a hotel and have the concierge accept your cannabis goods from a dispensary, assume that there are designated areas that you can smoke away from other people's kids, perhaps, if you even need to go there, candidly, because my kids rarely see me drink and they see me smoke all the time. And I can tell you that I have a 26-year-old who's straight A, went to UBC, and a 13-year-old who's on the same track. I'm not trying to say I'm a great parent. I'm just saying that, like, cannabis is not the one, right? To like throw your kids off the deep end just because they're seeing people use cannabis or see people smoking cigarettes or see drinking. You have to talk to your kids, educate your kids. So that's Social Nature's thing. So they partner with us on our dispensary and our spa, our initial activation. And the plan is that Pop and Barkley Social, that social moniker or mantle, could be attached to other dispensaries or other venues to bring that normalizing of cannabis. Pop and Barkley itself does not have the intention of being in the dispensary game. We make awesome products, right? So I always like to use the fashion example. What I'm hoping for is that these dispensaries that put wellness on their door, hell, they're called dispensaries. That right there has a wellness implication, yet many of them still use high fructose corn syrup, or allow high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, artificial dyes, basically boo-boo products in their wellness centers. That's on them. That being said, one day, hopefully, we will get levels of dispensaries, and then dispensaries will start to brand themselves, because right now, everything's premium. But in the fashion world, you would be at Barney's or Nordstrom. We would
Yeah.
not be at Ross or Marshall's. Right now, we're forced to sell through all retailers, no matter how shoddy they are, because we just need to stay relevant and be in business. But we are actually premium, even though the folks next to us who might just literally have distillate in their product still want to call themselves premium, having no idea how to create awesome plant-based medicine products. Everything's premium, right? So we do need a little bit of differentiation in there. But this dispensary was just because we had the space. We wanted to help our friends at Humble Social start to have an example of what we could do, what cannabis consumption could be like, what the spa activation could be like, what the joys of having an infused massage could be. We also have Humble Social has an inn called the Scotia Inn, which is about 20 miles south of our dispensary location. And that's going to have a full-on normalized spa area where you can get infused massages, separate hot tubs and venues where you can imbibe as an adult and you can have your products delivered directly to the concierge, that kind of thing. But we don't plan to open up any other dispensaries. Hopefully Social Nature will be able to attach that social handle to MedMen Social or Urban Leaf Social or whatever as we help others normalize cannabis but through hospitality. But for us, we have that one kind of like factory store, if you will. We did do it right because there's a bunch of dispensaries in Humboldt and we are sensitive to our neighbors. I want everybody to eat. And so we didn't decide to like kind of compete with them. We curated our dispensary, which I encourage others to curate. So our dispensary is about our products and it's about female-led farms, right? So interestingly enough, one of the things we come to find, especially here in the Emerald Triangle, is women grow weed. In fact, they've always grown it. Okay. We might have met their men or the men, if you will, out on the streets when we did deals. But back home, the people that cared for the ladies were always the women. And now they have a chance to step out. So Emerald Queen Farms, Sunrise Valley Farms, Honey Dew Point Farms, all run by strong women who've been in the game for a while. We featured Moon Made Farms is our new one. We feature their products exclusively alongside Pop and Barkley products. And that's it. So all the like clutter and fanfare from all the other brands across the state that you might find in other dispensaries in Humboldt, we don't have that. We just have this curated set just for this. There's plenty of other dispensaries selling all the other cool stuff. If you want to support women, you want to support the local environment, you want to have a nice little bite to eat and infused massage, that's why you come to us.
Well, and that's why V loves y'all, because that's definitely who she likes to highlight and who she loves to pay homage to and like give flowers while they're here, because V, I just want to kind of shout her out, the traveling cannabis writer. She's been all over the country and she visits and she raves, and so I'm so happy that she was able to make this connection, because then we can all help get the word out and really support each other. So I love it. My next question, I just wanted to confirm something with you, that you all were the first to make sugar-free whole plant edibles. Is that correct? And if so, what was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, we were the first and may still be because it's quite difficult.
Okay.
So as you can imagine, when we started the brand, we had our topicals, our tinctures, we're number one in those categories. I immediately jumped to do the concentrates and everybody's like, you can't do concentrates and everything. I'm just like, bro, it's a feather in my cap. It just shows that people, since I'm creating these like topicals and tinctures, I want people to know that we still know quality cannabis oil. And winning first, second, and third, 2 years running at the Emerald Cup, put a pin in that. Like we know solventless concentrates, recognize. Now, as it, when we wanted to get into edibles, folks were like, well, you can't just do it. You can't do everything right. And I was like, okay, you're right. And I was like, but it's not about me. Right. And just like if I said to you, Nike, if you're a baseball player and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm going to go golfing. If you believe that Nike has quality, guess what? They're going to have gear for you for golfing. They're not only going to have the clothes, they're going to have the balls, they're going to have the irons, okay? Because they had that first mover advantage in what we know as modern athletics. Well, I'm an OG in the game. I could say that with full pride. And yeah, if anybody's going to have an anchor store or a branded house that deploys quality products across all categories, I got to be in that. That's what I'm trying to do. So, but it's not about me. So I'm supported by a lot of artisans, Lindsay Hurley in the gummies, Jonah Ginsburg in the chocolate, right? Lauren and Jillian before her in the hash team, Brady Weaver before him, right? So before them. So it's like we create awesome products through artisans. And while right now in the industry, there's a ton of, alpha consumers, the Snoops, the Seth Rogans, the Jay-Z's of the world, they have a lot of eyeballs, but they're just consumers. What we need now is to start to prop up. We need the Louis Vuittons. We need the, what's the gentleman that just passed from Black and White, but this young designer that ended up rising to the top and becoming director of Louis. It's like, yeah, that's an artisan, right? That's a person who's passionate about the craft and bringing you quality stuff. Okay, that person, he might only wear plain Hanes t-shirts all day, but when he goes to work, he designs the fire. Okay, that's what we need in the cannabis industry, because right now we don't support artisans. We don't. We just know all these great alpha consumers. So I realized at our house, we need to put these artisans on top, right? Our executive branch, we used to be like, oh, I'm CEO, I'm the C-suite, and then these are the people that make stuff. No, now it's like I'm CEO and I support these artisans. I manage the P&L. I make sure they have everything they need to create great products. But to answer your question, getting back to it, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
When that first brand identity thing came, it was like, well, we got to be on brand. So I was like, and Montel, of course, was in my ear, like, patients are getting left behind. You know, all these new products are, you know, just boo-boo. And back then, the only gummies were like Flav RX and Camino. No disrespect to Chrissy and Kiva. A lot of love for those folks, but gelatin, sugar-filled gummy, just not a wellness product, right? So I endeavored to make a gummy. We did stumble, I'll be honest with that. And, you know, our first one that we deployed, we had to pull some of those units back because we had a little curing issue, but we were trying to do something miraculous, solventless input, right? Not distillate, whole plant input, and sugar-free. Finally, we got a decent formula with allulose. And right now, I hope I continue that SKU because of the supply chain issues, there is no allulose, right? Allulose is a sugar substitute that's generally regarded as safe. It's one molecule off of sugar, and so it tastes sweet. It has that right structure, but your body does not see it as sugar. And the FDA has since ruled it a dietary fiber, so I can put sugar-free and put its calorie content as fiber. So we did create those initial sugar-free gummies because, you know, look, there's lots of folks who need cannabis but don't need any extra in their diet. That is real. We still will try to keep 2 of those SKUs on. And then so finally now we're in edibles. And of course I ended up having to get an outside agency to validate my thoughts about brand identity and brand structure. You know, I've been learning a lot of this on my own. So kudos to all the marketing people that I've learned from. But yeah, our ampersand now is a branded house of products. And the ampersand, like the Nike swoosh, stands for some certain core values: solventless, tox-free production, fair trade. All our products are fair trade. We have the mark on the chocolate. We're about to get the mark on the gummy. And we should have it technically for our bombs and stuff because, of course, you know I'm sourcing MCT and coconut oil from the right places. I'm not allowing the jungles to be ravaged, right? The feeling is the ampersand tells you that I've gone down that carbon footprint rabbit hole. When you buy my goods, I've taken it to the end. Sustainable packaging, fair trade, tox-free. Our motto is best in class, which we define as if you know better, you do better. If you said to me right now, hey, do you know that there's a problem with this excipient? I would research it, I would fix it, and we would change. It's not about cost. Of course, COGS are important to people. Well, that's the challenge. Manage your COGS and make quality products, period. Like there are no excuses. One of my salespeople says it. We're the and brand. We give you this and this, not this or this.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, I love this because you know what? And I'm gonna get to her questions, but listen, I just want to say this, that it's so many times, so often we see people who start off one way with a strong passion, right? And because of whatever else, they start to kind of give in along the way because it's like this makes more money or this is not as easy. So I really applaud you all for staying the course with your ethics and, you know, the morals that you have behind this. That's really commendable. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And I would tell everybody out there, it's like when that time comes to you, money is nothing, you guys. Like, thank God for the trap. Like, money has done more damage than it has done good. We need it, but it's an evil energy, and we need to keep that at bay. And you should never compromise your values for money because you can always get money. You can't get time or your values back. So spend time with your loved ones and stay in your integrity.
Yeah, and your reputation, right? Once that's gone, I mean, it takes so long to get that back if you can. So I applaud that. I want to switch gears a little bit to the launch of P&B Kitchen, you know, which offers Arsenal artisanal, I'm sorry, edibles. Sorry, not arsenal. Sorry about that. But what was the inspiration behind that launch? What was the inspiration behind that? And I think, I mean, you kind of touched on that a little bit for sure. So you know, you can kind of give a little bit about that, but you definitely touched on that. And what are some of the products for, and who's behind the recipes and creations? So that's a lot,
Absolutely.
but whatever you want to give with that.
No, sure. So I always knew we needed to have an edible brand. Like I said, we had to get our brand identity right. So our first products we call the first cannabis conversation, meaning even if it's your grandmother or grandfather who just hates cannabis, fully indoctrinated in the demonization, you can put this on their hands or their elbows, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, there's something here.
That
Right?
happened to me. I'm gonna tell you that I am one of those people that could tell a story about that, but I'll let you
Yeah.
carry
So
on.
that's that first cannabis conversation. And then we drop these concentrates, which we start winning awards with. And it's like, that's that final conversation. Like when you're a connoisseur and you know about terpenes and you know about, like Frenchie said, shaking the tree for juicy, ripe trichome fruits, and you understand what the trichome is, I got a product for you. Now I got bookended. So I was figuring out how we were going to get this lifestyle brand in the middle. And it took a few minutes, you know, for us to get it right. And I can't take credit for the name. I have to give a shout out to Cassie Perlman, who's our senior VP of marketing, comes up with the name P&B Kitchen. It is, I'll be candid, because we're, you know, I'm nothing but honest. I understand that it looks a little bit like our competitor Wild, in the sense that we went with the you know, hand painted kind of things. We did find a local artist and had them paint all our different fruits and whatnot. But what we
Yeah,
wanted to do, as always, was highlight cannabis first and
yeah.
foremost. So all the products are created with our ice water hash, and we make no attempt to cover up the taste of cannabis. We always work with the taste of cannabis, right? So the formulas are made by a gentleman named Jonah Ginsberg. Jonah Ginsberg is a Humboldt native who used to have a place right here in the square called Humboldt Chocolate. We recruited him early on, believe it or not, right when we started in our first 4,000 square feet. It was just like, we can't do it all at that point. So
Right.
I had to like, you know, put him on hold for a little bit. And I'm really happy that when the time was right, he was still available. He had done some partnerships with some other folks in town, but by the time I was ready, I was able to offer him what he wanted. Here's real money to buy the top of the line Italian, awesome chocolate equipment. Like he's like a kid in the candy store. We got all the right equipment to create all the awesome SKUs, right? So
Mhm.
not only just chocolate bars, but two kinds, a chunky bar and a flat bar,
Oh,
filled
wow.
bites. So filled like Rolo bites, the ones that are out now are dark chocolate and milk chocolate filled with caramel, pistachio, almond butter, and other fillings are coming in the next couple of quarters and years. We have the ability to do pan bites. We haven't done those yet. You should expect those in Q4 as well. So out currently, we have 4 different bars. Now, working with the team and Lindsay, who's his support as also our confectionery director that makes the gummies, we came up with these amazing flavors. Raspberry quinoa crunch,
Oh, wow.
toasted almond chocolate, toasted almond, ginger is in one of them, and then coconut, right? That's just
Oh,
in the
wow.
bars. Then we have the gummies that are made by Lindsay, watermelon chili, pineapple and spicy ginger, lychee, and peach, right? So some of
Wow.
the flavors are from the, you know, looking at data. We are a data-driven company. People often are like, oh, you're so resistant to data. I'm like, data needs to be interpreted by knowledgeable people in the space,
That is
recognized, right?
that is so true. Yes.
So I can take the lychee and the peach because they were trending well, but I encourage Lindsay to come up with other awesome, unique flavors like the spicy ginger and pineapple and the watermelon chili, which are crushing it right now. And of course, a lot of times people are like, oh, I can taste the cannabis. I'm like, that's not the question I asked you. Does it taste good? Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, because it can taste like cannabis and taste amazing. And similar, you can appreciate this as a person of color. Systemic bias sticks his head in when people are surprised over the obvious. Why don't you think weed could taste good?
Wow.
Similarly, why don't you think a person of color can speak articulately? Don't act surprised. Shit's natural, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I look for that, and I'm quick to call people out because if we don't root it out like a virus, it's always going to be there, right?
Good for
We
you.
know this now from years of systemic racism against people of color. It does not go away easy. It
Yeah.
will Cannabis demonization will not go away easily unless we stand up at every turn and point out to folks, just so you know, you're slipping into that old trap.
Yeah.
Okay. Cannabis is here, it's legit. So whenever you think negatively of it, you need to consciously internalize that and breathe it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So, where can we find your products? I have your website here. Is this where they can go and kind of get some of your
Sure. So you can go
products?
to Papa and Barkley for sure. We'll show you all our products. You can also go to Papa Select if you want to get the new drops if you're heady. P&B
Okay.
Kitchen, I'm not sure if they have their own website yet. We definitely have our own IG handle for P&B Kitchen. But
Okay.
definitely the main website will direct you, papaandbarkley.com, or will direct you to all the others if needed. And then in terms of that, and now on that website, you also have the choice to get our national CBD products if you are not in California. I want to let everybody know that our products on the national side, we are all about integrity, are made exactly the same. I
Oh,
source full smokable type flowers from Vermont, right? We decided to do it completely separate of California, just have that wall so that folks didn't think
yeah.
that we are trying to bring that back in house now after the hemp bill and everything. But currently, all those products are made in Colorado, and most of the hemp is sourced from Vermont
Oh,
and it's
okay.
processed solventlessly, the same values. And so our main product online, our CBD rich tincture, is the same exact product that we create here in California that we call our 30-to-1, right? They're the same, just solventless, awesome whole plant tinctures and topicals on the national side. Soon, you'll also be able to get sleep gummies because we figured out how, of course, how to make CBN solventless and how to figure it out how to make it from the CBD products, right? So that it's still technically legal as far as the feds go. Here in California, we're in about 85-90% of the dispensaries. The only dispensaries we're not in is because they're either too far out or just too small, or they haven't paid us. Candidly, they haven't paid us. That also happens, right?
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
not that hard to find. We're a pretty major brand in California, pretty well deployed. And like I said, if you're not in the state, you can get at least some safe access through our CBD rich products on the website.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so I want to ask you, what type of cannabis consumer are these great for? Some of your products, like who would you recommend? Because for me, I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke. I don't smoke. Right? It just does not work for me. But I can definitely say I've used some solvents and some different things that really helped me. I had one time where my leg literally was not working. I don't know what happened. I woke up and it stopped working. It was so much pain, and someone was like, "Listen, use this. It will help." And it did. I've drank, different teas and things of that nature. So who would you recommend to get some of your products? And I'm sure, you have a plethora of different ones, but just kind of who would you?
Yeah. So again, now, a lot of the, one of the questions we often get asked is, when are you going to go multi-state? Well, we're now ready, because what we were waiting for was, I always had this vision that if you walk into a dispensary, whatever you're thinking about, I want an offering. I don't need to
Sure.
have all the market share. Like I said, I want everybody to eat. I want diversity of products, right? But
Yeah.
I want to have an offering. And now we pretty much have that. So we create products for everybody. It just depends on what you need, right? So when you come into a dispensary, if your leg is hurting, we have topicals. We have a CBD regimen that we would try to get you to take every single day, because CBD is not like THC. It's not an acute pain manager. It's more like an analgesic that you take on a regular basis. It loads in your system and lowers that systemic inflammation, and everything starts to feel better. Right? We have different THC CBD ratios so that you can put it in your tea, put it under your tongue, depending on, from anxiety to chronic headaches to pain management. We try to get people off of, if you're eating Advil every day, stop. Find your
Right.
natural alternative, right? That's going to hurt you. And obviously, if I'm saying that about Advil, I don't need to go down the rabbit hole of Oxy and everything like that. If you're not
Right.
sleeping well, our sleep gummy, we did our own in-house test, right? Got definitive, statistically relevant results. People were going to sleep earlier and getting longer sleep, right? CBN is a real thing. So we create that in gummies, capsules under our sleep suite, functional edibles, right? So if somebody is having trouble sleeping, they're having trouble pain management. Now, if you're just saying, hey, I want to relax, or I want to hear the sound a little bit deeper in the concert, well, we have all these great edibles for you to try depending on your flavor profile or whatnot. Or you could use the high potency capsules, whatever you choose. And then, of course, if you have been in the game for a while and you are a smoker or whatnot, we have awesome Cannagar collaborations. I hope to try to have some packaged flower, but I'm not a farmer, right?
Yeah.
So if we do flower, it'll be through probably like a Papa's co-op type entity where we honor our farmers and we really make sure we help them get their name to light using
Yes.
our vehicle. Similar to what we do that with our Select, right? Our Select brand, kind of like wine, we got to know where the grapes come from. So we got to put the farmer right on the box. Emerald Queen Farm creates this garlic cookies, which then we wash and it becomes Papa Select garlic cookies, ice water hash, or rosin, right? So if you're super heady and you know about terps, you know about strains, you know about the new, we have something for you in the form of these Cannagar collaborations and in the form of our awesome award-winning concentrates. And eventually we will try to get Humboldt flower to have its place on the shelf and recognize that Humboldt has special. You know, I'm still trying to message full term what it means to have real, true sun-grown plants that grow at the season of cannabis and how special they are, how the sun makes them special. Another thing that people don't understand out there because they're not ready to pay yet is that we don't really have real sativas or anything in the marketplace because sativas typically flower in 70 to 90 days. Most of the strains we have now, including, you know, I'm responsible for this, we back crossed everything to be 60 days because when we were growing indoors back in the traditional market, 60 days means 6 cycles a year. That's a whole extra cycle on your infrastructure. I understand why people are doing that. But now that we're in the light, it's time to educate the consumer and have them realize that, hey, you go into a store and you see this haze or this, you know, Jack Hera, well, that might have taken the farmer 70, 80, 90 days to grow indoor or outdoor. And yes, you're going to pay more for it, but there's fire there, right? So we still need that education. But to answer your question, all the ampersand like Nike, whether you're playing T-ball or you're a professional baseball player, I got something for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So what's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Wow. Okay. So recently, I was never a big edibles person, but the filled bites are fire. Like nobody else is doing that. You know, they're just amazing. I eat a couple of those a night. It's ridiculous. The watermelon chili is definitely my favorite gummy flavor. I do like the elderberry, but we only do that for sleep. So I can only usually take 1 or 2 of those.
Okay, cool.
An elderberry, like, again, so with the functional gummies, like our lemongrass ginger tinctures, all those and every smell and essential oil that I put in, whether it's the topicals, the face creams, or the functional edibles are purposeful. So elderberry was specifically selected, not because it's a tasty flavor, but because of its benefits to promote better sleep.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So I of course I like them all. They're like my babies. I mean, the balm, that's our hero product, right? I'm 50 and trying to feel it. I'm also trying to keep the weight off. So between Peloton and gym workouts, I'm with the balm for sure. I don't leave home without it. It's always in my bag. You never know when you need to rub that on. Yeah, I think those are if I had to pick 3 products, which as difficult as it is, it would be the watermelon chili, the balm, and the filled bites. Now, I say that, and I can tell you that not a day goes by that I don't use my Puffco Peak and use all our concentrates. Like that's just the real. And of course, I'm constantly being offered flowers, and I do, even though I quit smoking cigarettes a long time ago, I still consider myself a smoker because I never got rid of the oral fixation. And it doesn't matter how much concentrates I have, at one point during the day, I'm going to be like, I need to feel fire. I need to breathe dragon smoke. So that will happen at one point during the day. And usually I try to keep it outdoor, try to keep it sun grown. I just recently judged the Emerald Cup, so I have a ton of those flowers, and I can't throw anything away. So not only because I think I have some small hoarder problems, but I'm so enamored by cannabis packaging and the fact that we never had it. I just can't throw it, and I can't throw flowers away. So even though we have all this flower that I'm supposed to be judging, and some of it's not that great, I'm going to smoke all of it. Or give it away and share it with friends, but it will not be thrown away. That's for sure.
No, I love it. So just really quickly, can you just give me a quick overview of the launch party?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Okay. So Cassie Perlman, again, Senior VP of Marketing, she needs to get full credit because, as you can imagine, things are difficult in cannabis this year. Some people say there's an existential crisis in compliant cannabis. And so as we enter this year, we use a lot of ship analogies here. I was in the Navy, like I told you. So we're battening down the hatches, trying to weather the storm. So I had to lose some staff, definitely had to cut my budget to make sure that I can just stay alive until something changes, because I believe in this game. I've been patient.
Right.
So she has a limited budget and does this launch party. That is amazing. I'm on this show called the State of Cannabis News Hour. I feel like I should plug it. It's Monday through Friday, 9 to 10. It's just a news hour. I only do Wednesdays and Fridays, but definitely if you guys have your time, listen. It's on Clubhouse and anywhere you find Clubhouse Live if you want to comment and be part of the talk. And then the podcast is wherever you find your podcast, right? So on the State of Cannabis News Hour, the day before the party, I'd done this report on how Airbnbs are starting to allow folks to, at least say the word cannabis and use their facilities and so on.
They are.
I think that's how we got this Airbnb, but we got this awesome large Airbnb, kind of classic Los Angeles. I think Melrose Place, right? You know, you ever see in LA when people go into the courtyards and like everybody's apartment, and then all of a sudden there's a party in the courtyard? That's what we did, right?
Oh, wow.
Classic Los Angeles vibe. You know, we had to make peace with the neighbors, which we always do because cannabis is love. It's usually not hard, right?
Yeah.
They had goats. Now, just to give you a sense of how awesome this woman is, I'm a big fan of goats. I'm originally from New York. I now live in the country, and all I want for my wife is to let me have goats and chickens. And she's like, you can't even take care of a dog. She's right, because I'm traveling all the time, right? But we had goats. We had two puff goat. Luckily, they showed up to support us. And they had a dab bar and they bought rigs, we bought rigs, we had a dab bar, we had our normal Pop and Barkley massage activation. So the ampersand was represented, but the main focus was P&B Kitchen. And so, of course, we brought the artisans. So Jonah and Lindsay were there to ask questions and share and talk about their products. We also shout out to Grass Door, tried to break the mold where we, you know, they're not allowed to park their truck. Their truck can only be deployed for deliveries. So what we did was we blocked out a parking spot in front of it. And we told them, hey, you're probably going to get a lot of our orders. So maybe put some more in the truck so it doesn't have to go so far. And all you had to do is scan the QR code at any one of the tables, place your order for a 20% discount, walk out to the front of the party and pick it up from the truck, right? So we were able to do some good sales right on site, all compliant, all, you know, looking for the loopholes and pushing forward. So an amazing activation for not a lot of money, but the vibe was there, right?
Yeah.
And so I tell folks, like everything in life, it's all about vibe. I'm sure there are MSOs that could have rented out the biggest ballroom and had the biggest bands and everything, and it would have been cold and stale because nobody would have been smoking and it would have been weird. Our focus was, can we get people to smoke and have a good time? Yes. Cassie also super smart, right? I told her, I was like, you know, you usually need some kind of creative outlet, and, you know, the food needs to be kind of like something that people, you know, munchy food. So sure enough, chicken wings, pizza, and the pinnacle of it in LA, especially for those who know the area, she got one of the fruit guys to come and set up his thing. It's like, of course, like awesome fresh fruit. It was 90 degrees during the day, you know, so by the time the party ended at night, it was still like 80 degrees. People are eating fresh, awesome fruit, right?
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Small plates, right? So yeah, and all free, right? Just like come, welcome, talk, you know, show, you know, just, you know, we did invite a lot of influencers, a lot of industry folks, and just set that vibe, right? No alcohol was present because it doesn't need to be. Again, you know, I look at these beverage guys, they're like so desperate for us to like recreate that model. I was on a panel the other day with the guy from Can, who I probably insulted him because I didn't realize who he was. And I was like, yeah, like on their website, somebody brought up Can. I was like, yeah, the company on their website that says same buzz, no hangover. I'm like, first of all, not same buzz.
Right.
Okay. Trying to be the same thing. And candidly, and I'll say this in public, drinks and beverages are cannabis shame. You're showing yourself. You're showing that you so desperately want cannabis to fit into your paradigm instead of opening your heart to what it can be, that you're trying to get us to drink 2 and 3 milligrams. You don't even know how your tolerance is going to go up. You're only at 5 milligrams for the first few days. When we were in high school, 1 beer would get you drunk. Now you're rolling with a case. So recognize that there are levels to this. And if you think people are going to sit there and drink beverages, no matter how fast acting they are, for 5 and 10 milligrams, it's inaccurate. More importantly, it's mostly distillate based. And you already know how I feel about that, right? So anyway, that's a sidebar. The party was amazing. Cassie did a great job. The team did a great job. So it's not about money. It's about setting that vibe and having integrity. I said a few words at the party and everybody was like, oh, amazing speech. And I realized then, I was like, I'm blessed. It's like my mom always told me, it's like when you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember. When people are like this, they're lying because you're trying to remember. I don't have to remember anything. I don't need my speeches written. I just have to talk about all the things we're doing truthfully and honestly. You know, my team doesn't have to compartmentalize. There's nothing we have internal conversations that don't match external conversations. When we're making products, when we're discussing things, everything is fair. Right? We have to look, we're not conspiring against the world. We're working together to make a better world. So when I'm having a meeting, right, I'm not like, let's do this, you know, nobody will know. No, you know, I know. That's enough. We're going to create quality products at a fair price, period. And everybody's going to get paid. And otherwise, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. Yes. Integrity. Yes. Last question for you. Just tell us the differences between P&B Kitchen, Papa Select, and Papa and Barkley. Like, what are the differences?
Absolutely. So all of them share solventless, tox-free formulations and deep-rooted in culture in terms of where we get our cannabis inputs and how we treat that and how we pay everybody. That's true of all of them. That being said, BARKLEY is a wellness suite of products, topicals, tinctures, patches, and functional edibles, meaning like if they solve a problem, whether to focus or to sleep or pain management. That's BARKLEY. P&B Kitchen is our lifestyle brand. I try not to use words like recreation or adult use. It's all wellness, right? So P&B Kitchen is that lifestyle brand for when you're like 21 to like, well, forever. As long as you feel young in your heart and you just want to have a de-stress or an uplifting experience, kitchen products for you. And then lastly, Papa Select, that's if you're a heady. If you're into cannabis, you want to understand terpenes, you want to track the strains, you want to track pollen chucking and understand, oh, last year was the papaya, the year after that it was THC bomb. What's coming this year? Is it going to be, you know, strawberry jam? Last year we won with strawberry jam. The year before that we won with THC bomb and papaya, right? What's coming next? Are the gases coming back? Are the diesels coming back? If you're into that, Select is for you, right? Select is our canister line, you know, our Canagars, our partnership with El Blunto or Artisan, our high-level Canagars with awesome premium flower and awesome concentrates infused. Of course, the rosins and the hash, awesome concentrates, awesome stuff. So if you're into that, that's that brand for you. So again, trying to do something for everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Guy. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything that you have to offer. I mean, you know so much and you talk so fast and I talk fast. So it's nice to see somebody else that like just gets it out there. And again, I appreciate the way you guys are so pure about it. Like, I mean, you know, right now, especially for as a consumer of anything, really, you have to really double check what people are putting in the stuff, right? I mean, you just don't know. So I like how transparent you all are and the integrity that goes behind it. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate Cal too, who helped your PR guy to help get this all set up. And of course, we want to shout out Veronica V, the traveling cannabis writer, for setting this up as well. This is just awesome. So thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. And I hope to be out in California one day so I can visit myself and see.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know.
Love it.
Yeah. No, let us know. You know, we're well situated out here this summer. It's beautiful. Look, where we live is a magical place. Like it's people talk about it like Hawaii. They move here and they stay here. You know, it's difficult to get here. Our airport was used for World War II pilots to fly in inclement weather. So oftentimes flights are canceled. When you drive up here, there's an obvious redwood curtain. Like you literally are driving through windy roads and the trees start getting deeper and deeper, and before you know it, you're obviously in the forest. And then you come out of the forest in Garberville and now you're in Humboldt County proper. You know, where I live, I'm surrounded by old growth redwoods. And so other places have old buildings, we have old trees. Like I walk by 1,000-year-old trees on a regular basis and I swear they make me better.
Yes. That is speaking my language, because right now it's snowing outside here in Michigan. So I'm just visualizing all of this and just wishing I could just kind of like put myself there. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and I wish you all the best and I hope to see you guys one day.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks,
Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thanks.